you're expat in France. We are now presenting you how spouse career could be developed to help successful expatriation. And just to introduce our subject, so more and more expat spouses want to develop their own career now. And it's a part now of a negotiation process in each expatriation. So they are asking to receive help to find a job. So it's not only the expats now. In the expat partners we welcome, 20 years ago, 23% of them asked them to find a job. And now, after 10 years, it's 75%. So more and more expat partners want to have their own career. So it's why we are here today to help you understand how you can help them. So we are with Etienne. Etienne is an employment lawyer. He has been practicing for more than 25 years, extensive experience in welcoming foreign companies, and is one of the founder of Your Expert in France.
So, and we're presenting with Armelle, who is the founder of Absolutely French. You have been experiencing the status of expatriate spouse in more than 7 countries. And you're founder of Absolutely French, whose aim is to welcome expatriate spouses in France through a series of experiences to help them come along in France and develop also their career as spouses in France, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, Armelle, what should spouses do when they are looking for a job in France?
For me, the first thing to do is LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really key in France. A lot of expat spouses don't know that, so it's very important to start with that. Have a very good profile with all your experiences very well described with what you have done, and to also to start following the companies you want to work for example, and also develop your LinkedIn network. Not only your profile, but just when you meet people in France, always add them. So more people in France you will have, more you will have contact on LinkedIn, and so it's a very good tool when you want to find a job in France. What are the main types of work contracts in France that expat spouses should know about?
Well, in France there are 2 types of employment contract. The first one is the unlimited term contract. This is the normal way of recruiting someone, so there is no time limit. You have a notice period, and when you want to terminate the employment relationship, then there is either the resignation or the termination for cause or for economic reason, or the termination by mutual consent. The other type of employment contract is a fixed term contract for a certain duration of time. For instance, when you want to replace someone who is on maternity leave, paternity leave, illness, and so, or for a temporary increase of activity. So here there is the company faces this increase of activity and has to recruit someone, but on a limited term basis, the maximum duration of which is 18 months.
Thank you, Etienne. So 18 months. I thought it was less. Okay, thank you. Can you also explain what is, we use freelance in English, but in France we use auto-entrepreneur. So can you explain this statute?
Yes, so auto-entrepreneur is a statute for self-employed persons. So it's a very convenient way of working as a self-employed person. For the provision of services, the maximum revenue generated out of this activity is 77,000 euros per year, per calendar year. In consideration of that, you are subject to a very limited income taxation on the revenues generated, and also a very limited social charges withholding based again on the revenue generated. So it's a very convenient way to proceed if you think it's better for you as an expat spouse to find a client rather than finding an employer. If you want to get self-employed, it's very easy to register. There's a dedicated platform on the internet, so it takes maximum 10 minutes to register as a self-employed. And then on a day-to-day basis, the formalities are very smooth. So it's a very practical way of performing your activities as a self-employed person.
Yes, and we have a lot of expat spouses who use this
Really?
status in France. Yes.
And also another benefit of that is that you can work as a self-employed person together with being an employee. So it's not contradictory to be an employee and be a self-employed person in your weekend activities, for instance. So there's nothing that prevents you from doing that, except the maximum revenue generated out of your self-employed status, which is limited to 77,000 euro per year.
Okay, so you can have a part-time job and then...
Exactly. That can be very convenient to add your revenues out of a part-time job, for instance. Or if you have 35 hours work week, the balance of the working time can be used as a self-employed person. Armelle, what are the key online platforms for job hunting in France now?
There are more and more job hunting platforms now in France. The most common, I will just pick up the most common platform. There are LinkedIn, of course. Indeed is very common, but we have Welcome in Jungle, which is more and more known by French people. And I also like jobs that make sense. So I think we will add all these platforms on the comments on LinkedIn and on YouTube, so you could find them. But there is also one that I like because I've been working in Station F. So you have jobs by Station F also, which is more for small companies in startups, and it's very good for English speakers because there are lots of opportunities with only this language. So it could be good for expat spouses also to know this platform. And
can you share, for instance, one effective strategy for expat spouses in France? What kind of strategy can they use?
Yes, I think spouses always forgot that network, but network is key in France. If you don't go to meet people to develop your network, you are not going to find a job. It's very difficult in France because it's usually I know someone, that knows someone, and then you find a job like this. So it's just go outside, go to meet people, define your goal first. What do you want? In which company you want to work? And then try to meet people from this company so you have many opportunities in France. You can use Meetup, which is very not well known, but you can use LinkedIn. There are webinars online, but there are also events where you could go and find if you want to work in IT, for example, of course, go to Station F. If you want to work for cosmetics, go to L'Oreal events. So just find the events that suit your needs. Okay, it's very important. But if you don't do network, you are not going to find a job. I think expat spouses should know that. What are the critical legal considerations for expat spouses when signing a work contract in France? What is important?
Well, basically, the spouses need to know what they want to do. I mean, if they have a family to take care of, maybe they will prefer having a part-time job rather than a full-time job. So they have to consider a part-time application for jobs, or use the self-employed status, which is very convenient for working time arrangement with a private life. The second aspect also is to know whether it would be easier for them to find a client rather than an employer, because in this case maybe they will use the auto-entrepreneur status rather than being an employee. And also have in mind what kind of wage they can benefit from as an employee as opposed to a services provider. You know, it's more and more known now that the flexibility of being a self-employed person, a services provider, is a very good tool for arrangement with your own private life. So these are the key aspects of that. And then when signing the employment contract, pay attention to the trial period, which is the period where the employer can just, without any cause, terminate the employment relationship. So normally it's up to 4 months, renewable once. So this is 8 months during which the employer can terminate the contractual relationship without any cause. Pay attention also to your welfare situation, because it's compulsory to have one as either an employee or a self-employed person. But as you are a spouse, maybe you can benefit also from the status of your spouse. So these are the key aspects to take into consideration when signing a contractual relationship.
Thank you, Etienne. Yeah, I think it's very important for them to know all about the contracts. Yes. So just to resume, integrate your expat spouses as a company is very important, and it's the first step. So just start with the integration, and then when they are integrated, you can help them find a job with a good service. They need to understand how the job market is in France. It's completely different from their country usually, so they need that. So it's good if you can share this podcast to them, of course, and please follow the next podcast that will be very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.